Hello everyone, it's Will, back again, another video, another day. Great to see you, great to see you. If you haven't been here before, I'm Will. Hi, I'm a guy from the UK, England, and I talk about stuff I'm interested in. Ideas and thoughts I have, I reflect on them, I see how I feel about stuff, and I try and be authentic about it. Just a guy trying to think about things, feel things, and just be as real as I can. So, video for today, we're going to reflect on the question, how do you spend time well? I feel this has been a question on my mind a lot, because, like, I guess I think about this is like the question underneath a lot of questions, in a way, for me, right? It's like, I think about values, I think about therapy, I think about creativity and music and art and stuff, and like, just spending a day, like, what is well spent time? Like, how am I defining that? How am I judging that? Are my biases helping with that? Or hindering that? And I guess that I've been really thinking about is, like, the old ways I used to think was time well spent versus, I guess, the ways that are kind of coming in now. So the old ways, I guess, for me, like when I was younger and I was a video game addict, it was like play video games all day, right? It was play, boot up your game of choice, play, I don't know, RuneScape, MapleStory, Fable, Oblivion, Skyrim, all of those kind of games, right? Just boot it up, get playing, okay? And that's a good time. That's like a day well spent, right? But I think something happened in me at a certain point, or League of Legends or whatever, and I was like, what am I doing, right? And I guess it comes to this, for me, this idea of like a satisfying day versus an enjoyable day. So I've been thinking a lot recently about what is a satisfying versus enjoyable day. And I guess I'd say like an enjoyable day, right, might be like playing video games, right? And I often maybe compare this to, like, you know, serotonin versus dopamine. Dopamine's kind of more the reward circuitry, the more like, hey, this is fun. This is fun right now. I'm having fun, right? Which is like cool and good in some senses, right? But in other senses, it can have you orientated, for me anyway, it has me orientated towards like short-term rewards, right? So I pick things that are like short-term fun, but then when I look back on it, I'm like, what the hell did I do with my day? Why did I do that? One of those being doom scrolling on my phone. You know, that felt fun in the moment, but when I like look back on it, I was like, what am I doing? This sucks. This isn't satisfying. And I think that's like what I really want. I want to feel satisfied with my time, with what I'm doing, with why I'm doing it, right? And have some kind of continuity and connectiveness in my actions. So I think for me, I've been really considering, like, you know, the satisfying element. Part of why I even started the YouTube channel was to kind of add to that satisfying angle. And I guess for me, like, what is more satisfying, right? Because I think that comes into the camp of like, how do I spend time well? How do I define that, right? Like, the more I do certain things, like go to the gym or go for a walk or whatever, sometimes like they're not fun, right? But they're satisfying. I go away from the gym and I'm like, yeah, man, that was satisfying. I pushed myself today. My body's got all these endorphins. I sit down and ready to work and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm locked in. Like, this is it today. That's time well spent, right? Which is like interesting to me in my experience, because it's kind of like, I think I was like fun maxing, right? I was like, funnest thing possible, play the best video game, right, for the lowest cost, because I don't have a lot of money to like go and have really expensive experiences that I'd really enjoy. So play video games, have a lot of fun, because they are like fun maxing experiences, in my opinion. And that was time well spent. But then, like, I think as I've gotten older, the dopamine just like hits different and hits less, because my neurochemistry has changed from growing older. So now, like, I'll sit down and I'll play video games a bit and I'll be like, this ain't it. This ain't as fun as it used to be. I don't know if it's just because it's that my like habit circuitries are like, yo man, you done this a lot. This is not novel. This is not fun. Or I guess because I've tried to learn more about my mind, that like I know if I play a bunch of video games, I'm gonna feel drained and distractible and tired afterwards. So now I'm like conditioning myself to be like, maybe we shouldn't do that, because like if I go and work out or I go for a walk or like I go and hang out with a friend in person, I'm a lot more likely to come away from that with some energy, right, instead of losing energy. So yeah, how do I spend time well? I think part of it is doing activities that I know are actually building me up and developing me more into the person I want to be, and that feels satisfying to me, right? When I like go and work out and I feel stronger and I feel more mobile and lighter, more like engaged and present in the world. I think now I'm really thinking more about relationships, right? Like, so I went to my friend's 30th birthday yesterday. He's 30. We went to I went on Monday. It's Wednesday today, day of recording. And on Monday I went and I was really angry. I was really frustrated. And I think this question was in my head of like, you know, is this a good use of my time to drive 3 hours to South Wales? And I think the main frustration was like, I knew I was going to get heat stroke, right? So I'm like really prone to heat stroke because I'm overweight, right? Like I'm a heavy dude. So me walking around in 30-degree heat is like not the best idea. So I was like, I don't think it's a good idea for anyone, but especially when you got extra padding, right? So when I was walking around and I took this like water cooler with me that had like this like bag, this food cooler bag, and I was dragging it around and the bottom of it tore because it was sagging when I was carrying it through Cardiff. And it just made me really mad because I was also thinking, man, it's so hot, and I said I don't want to be in the heat a lot, and we're out doing things in the heat, so I guess I wasn't feeling listened to and I was feeling a bit frustrated. So I went and sat on a bench and I kind of meditated for a while, and then I fell asleep because of the heat. I had a little heat stroke snap, which I think helped, but probably was a sign that like, yeah, I did need to stop. My body was right. But like I was thinking like, is this a good use of my time? And like it was interesting because like really all I did there was like sit and do nothing for like 2 hours. And like some people might be like, well, like you just like wasted time, like sat there doing nothing, right? But it really helped me like come to terms with this frustration I was having here, that like I was kind of being a bit like dopamine focused. I was like, in the short term, I don't want to experience this discomfort. I want to kind of have some fun, right? And I would find it fun to not get heat stroke. There's legitimate, satisfying health reasons for not wanting to get heat stroke as well. I'm not gaslighting myself here. Like, I think I was along the right lines, but I don't think I should have taken that out on anyone. I don't think I did, but I was pretty flustered, frustrated, warm. So it was kind of nice to just like sit and just like stop for a while. And then like when I like processed those emotions a bit, it cooled down a bit. I was staying hydrated. Then I went and rejoined my friends. It was all fine. We had a good night. We sat by a bank and we just had a barbecue. And we just talked and skipped stones. And it had me thinking about this like time well spent idea, right? Because it wasn't anything high tech, it wasn't anything fancy, it was just me and a few buddies just sitting on a bank, skipping stones and making jokes. And eating like some barbecue food, right? And I guess sometimes I feel like I see these ideas online a lot of like, well, you have to like have all this fancy stuff. You have to go to all these countries and travel all around the world to like have these deep, meaningful experiences, these satisfying experiences, you might say. And I think part of me gets really caught up in that, right? Like I really, really want to go to Japan, for example. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. It's something I've been trying to figure out how to financially do for a while. It hasn't felt feasible for whatever reason, either time or money or both. And I think what I'm really looking for is like connective experiences, right? And I think just like hanging out with my buddies was like that. That was good. That was a connective experience, and I think that was ultimately time well spent, even though I was angry prior to it, because I guess I felt like I wasn't listened to and understood, and the activity led to something that did result in me getting heat exhaustion. Okay. But then like I cooled off and like it was okay. Like I think I have this idea that like I can't handle heat full stop, and I'm going to struggle and suffer and suck, right? In heat, it's going to be a bad time. But I think there's also something to be said about leaning into a bit of discomfort sometimes and going against what your kind of anxious mind is saying. So my anxious mind was like, can't handle heat at all, stay out of the heat. And like, that's not a bad idea for health reasons at all, right? Like, it is a good idea to stay out of heat when it's really hot. But like, the reality of things is that like summer's hot and summers are getting hotter. So I need to like figure out a way to like navigate this heat. Like, I'm gonna have to again, right? It was June, just going into July then. Like, the summer's like not finishing immediately. I've got to get through a few more months of this, right? So I think I came to the position where like I'm gonna this time's gonna feel better spent for me if like I can like roll with this challenge and this resistance of this heat here. If I can sit with this and feel it out and ride the waves and find my own place in these waves, okay? And then like when I took time to do that and I could do that, I actually then like enjoyed myself, right? Like I let go of the anger and the fear and the frustration of being in an environment that I logically knew I was walking into, right? I think my logic here was like trying to protect me, and I think that makes sense and that's fine. But sometimes like putting myself in situations where like I'm uncomfortable leads to growth for me, and then leads to time well spent, right? Like I'm now like proud that I didn't just leave. Like I thought about leaving, I thought about driving 3 hours home, but I didn't. I stayed there, I had a good time, and then the next day we went to a big old pit in South Wales, literally called Big Pit, and went into some mines 300 meters underground, and it was really cool. I got a bunch of bites on my arm from a bug because it was hot, and apparently I'm a tasty meal for bugs, but you know what? I had a good time. That was time well spent. And I think those are things I'm going to look for in the future. A time well spent. I think it's about relationships. I think that's what we all want. Good relationships. And good experiences in those relationships. So, those are my thoughts. Ideas, money, prestige, they all kind of point, I think, to this desire to have satisfying experiences. But yeah, I'm going to leave the video there. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Leave some comments and questions. How do you think time is well spent? I would love to hear what you think in the comments, because I'm just one guy with one point of view. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.